Gary Peebles was booked at Shamrock Park for taking a free kick too quickly. Neil Candlish had already tried an effort. But at the third attempt, Peter Kennedy curled an exquisite ball past Wes Lamont, who had the save in his sights. 1-0 after 14 minutes. But just like last week against Glentoran, Portadown failed to capitalise. And just like the Glens, Linfield missed a glorious opportunity. Darren Erskine's shot tipped away by Mickey Keenan. Though as the Port's fans shouted how the Blues had spent too much on their striker, Erskine put his money where his mouth is. The Port silenced the Blues in full voice. 1-1 at half-time. Some sloppy defending allowed Gary Peebles in to make it 2-1 for the Ports, and then hide his identity as usual, or perhaps hide his enjoyment of getting one up on his old club. Soon Portadown were 3-1 up. An absolutely cracking strike from Peter Kennedy. His second goal of the game, his third in 2 matches. Linfield's new man, Alan Byrne, marked his debut with a goal. The £28,000 signing from Shelbourne pulling the deficit back to 1. Byrne joined the Blues with a poor disciplinary record, and he was sent off by Leslie Irvine for a disgraceful challenge on Robert Casey. Not really a headbutt, more a violent lunge into the midriff. Byrne will be reported for violent conduct, and he'll probably serve at least a 4-match suspension.
At Castlereagh Park, controversy in 25 minutes. Ards Raymond Morrison handled on the goal line. The red card was flourished by Frank MacDonald. Pat Fenlon's spot kick was marvellously saved by Paul Key, but Morrison was still on the pitch. Fenlon made no mistake with the second chance. Fenlon made it 2-0 for the Blues. Minutes later, another super strike from the midfielder. And Raymond Campbell continued the spectacular theme after the break. This thunderous strike from 30 yards. Ards rallied though. McLaughlin's free kick was parried by Lamont, but Michael Boyle capitalised. The Ards fight back continued, the Blues under pressure. Wes Lamont sent Boyle sprawling. Penalty. Pat Flannery calmly converted, but 3-2 to the Blues.
And the Glens, 1 up when the first game was abandoned, started where they left off. Justin McBride putting them ahead with this brilliant shot in 19 minutes. And the Blues pressed the self-destruct button 8 minutes before the break. Wes Lamont's attempted clearance went straight to McBride, who gratefully accepted the present. The Glens had 2 great chances to wrap it up in the second half. McBride set up Trevor Smith. His shot crashed off the post. Then Noel Bailey came to the rescue when he denied Glenn Little. Desi Gorman pulled one back in 67 minutes. And almost immediately got involved in an incident with Colin Nixon. Referee Alan Snoddy brandished the red card. But 4 minutes later, the 10-man Blues were level. Stephen Beattie with the free, and Ryan McLaughlin soared to head home the equaliser. Alan Dornan almost grabbed the winner 2 minutes from the end of normal time, but the woodwork got in the way. No addition to the score in extra time, and we joined the penalty shootout at 3-3. Pat Fenlon scored for the Blues. That put the pressure on Darren Parker, but his shot hits the post. So celebrations for Linfield after that second half transformation.
Super.
Portadown came to Windsor Park unbeaten in the league, but it was Linfield who chased the game. On 23 minutes, Campbell's cross caused confusion in the Portadown defence, and Darren Erskine took advantage for his 5th goal of the season. On 50 minutes, Linfield's Lindsay McKeown was dismissed from the dugout by referee Cowie, and a few minutes later, Portadown's Gary Peebles followed him after a rash, studs-up tackle on Erskine. And that in turn led to Ronnie McFall's exit from the bench following an argument with the linesman. A Ferguson header flashed just wide soon after, but Linfield held on comfortably.
It doesn't matter how you score. It's an important goal for us, and maybe people will stop saying that we haven't won at Windsor in the league now, but that's besides the point. It's about us getting consistency now, and that's the name of the game for us.
In all sorts of ways yesterday, but Glentoran didn't have an awful festive lot to cheer about. A ricochet Justin McBride header was the closest they came in the opening 20 minutes. Alan Dornan, playing at left back in a reshuffled Linfield defence, tested Glens keeper Neil Armstrong from distance. And the Glentoran back four was altered as well. Colin Nixon in the centre, George Neal at right back, due to the suspension of Michael Smith and John Devine, whose height was certainly missed as Linfield took the lead. Alan Ewing's header making it 1-0 to the Blues. The Glens still worked hard to create chances. Eddie Cunnington will be disappointed he didn't do better here. Then the bright snow obviously impaired Neil Armstrong's vision as he picked up a back pass. Indirect free kick awarded. Darren Erskine miscued. Glentoran left their best football of the half to the end, but found no way past Blues keeper Darren Crawford. Deputising superbly for Wesley Lamont, he produced two fine saves. The first from Cunnington and the second from Londoner Glenn Little, who displayed some silky skills, unfortunately for the Glen men, not often enough yesterday. In the second half, the orange ball burst and the fans weren't happy. But the ball couldn't be changed, only white ones left in East Belfast, and the fans weren't the only ones who had trouble seeing it. Glenn Little did have the ball at his feet somewhere when hacked a couple of times, but it wouldn't be Boxing Day without a bit of a scuffle. Although Jeff Spears needlessly wanted to take the fight somewhere else. The Glentoran defence certainly didn't catch sight of the ball or Alan Ewing as he scythed through to pop in Linfield's second. Ewing epitomising the Blues' prowess in the midfield area yesterday. Glentoran didn't quite throw the towel in just yet. Trevor Smith had his header cleared off the line by the extremely effective Philip Nell. But Ian McCush sealed the 3-0 win for a patched-up Linfield team without the likes of Gorman, Campbell, Byrne, Fenlon, Beattie, McLean and Miller. The Blues sliding back up the table.
Conditions played their part at Bourneview with the Blues taking the lead after 9 minutes. Suggestions of a handball, but Richie Johnson lobbed home. Linfield grabbed the second in 28 minutes and the elements played their part here. O'Neill's goal kick blown back and Erskine toe-poked it home. Into the second half and Glendenning's header was directed home after 66 minutes to set up a grandstand finish. Into injury time, Johnson's through ball, and what a quality finish from Darren Freeman.
First half Linfield controlled it, and that was because they had the win in their back. Second half it was a complete turn.
An undistinguished first half at Ballyskay, livened up only by this Detty Gorman goal. The through ball from Alan Ewing, and the Dundalk Hawk swooped to knock in Linfield's first after only 4 minutes. The floodgates opened after this incident involving Gorman and Johnny Drake, which resulted in the Whites fullback being given his marching orders 30 minutes from the end. Taking advantage of the extra man, Linfield made it 2-0 6 minutes later. Sub Paul Miller, the provider, and Ian McCush scored with a looping header past Niall Curry. And soon afterwards McCush got his second and Linfield's third to virtually kill off the tie. But the Blues weren't finished yet. Curry's misdirected clearance picked up by Philip Nell in injury time, and he gratefully accepted the gift. 4-0 to Linfield, and the second leg a mere